Guys, Winter Cosmos here with another game called The Monster Inside. So let's go ahead and get started. My heart pounded, ears still ringing slightly. Some of the worst nightmares I had in years left me feeling like I had been punched in the jaw, but just like any other day, I dragged myself to the office. There was another notice on the door for Mayor Winston's office. Permanent out of date. They didn't like me much and were trying to drown me in paperwork. It was a slow month, weeks since I had any real case to work on, so I passed the time pacing the office, smoking, staring at the mirror in the corner, safely covered with an old bed sheet. I didn't dare look at my own reflection. I'm too afraid of what I might see. Afraid someday I might have to face what I really am. The girl came in so quiet I nearly choked on my cigarette. Girl, mister, please, you gotta help me, mister. This is an interesting kind of visual. Well, it did say it was an audio visual, so it kind of very much lacks the people in it. And you don't come across that every day. It's very much like a silent film. If you've ever had to write a silent film, it's challenging. You do not get to use words whatsoever. Or so I found it challenging for myself, because the lack of wording, you had to figure out ways how you were going to get the characters to give out instructions or kind of explain the situation or teach them to learn something. And when you're lacking that foundation of expressional words, how do you go about expressing things without dialogue to give it that extra flair? So we got options. So first one is, calm down now, sit and talk slow. Yeah, what can I help you with? Have you ever heard of knocking first? That's funny. That's something I would say just at the blur of the moment. If you just barge into my room and just be like, hey, mister, you gotta help me, mister. My first and unfiltered response would be, have you ever heard of knocking first? And then I would probably go with, yeah, what can I help you with? So, very much relate to those two first answers. How do we want to play this person? I'm feeling between the top one and the second one. Well, let's go with the top one. Okay, thanks. It's just no one will listen to me. Just tell me your tell. I'm listening. She eyed me with just a dash of suspicion as I tossed back a handful of pills and chased them with a swag of whiskey. I can tell this might take a while. Her name was Lily, and she told me she was his mistress, the man all over the newspapers, the infamous banker Mr. Reginald Farnsworth. Mr. Farnsworth was a drunk, parading bastard, but this girl seemed genuinely concerned that he had recently gone missing. Less concerned about the fact that Mr. Farnsworth's wife had just turned up dead in a Central Park 2 nights ago. Whoa! Now that's a story. Lily, you don't understand. He just couldn't have done it. He hated his wife, but he couldn't have killed her. Everyone thinks it was him, and no one believes me. He's gotta be in trouble. I ain't saying I believe you, but what makes you think he's in danger? Case seems pretty simple to me. Oh, case looks pretty simple to me. That's a pretty smart-ass response. We'll indulge in this Lily person. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's see where that gets us. Well, Mr. Jack, you can just call me Jack. You sound like a Jack, okay? Whoever is this interrogator or the person that's listening sounds like the typical investigator, there goes the word. Investigator who is down on his luck, is hitting the rough ends, and here he is, drinking his pills, smoking cigar, with the side of whiskey. All three bad combinations to put together. Very classic trope of a character, if I have to say. Jack, whoever did this to his wife must have been the one who took him. He would have never left me. He promised me. Lily, I'm starting to very much question your character on terms of he would never leave you. He had a wife before you, and he left her. Wouldn't the same logic occur to you when he finds someone else better than you for the moment? He will leave you for her? I'm sure Mr. Friendsworth promised this poor girl a lot of things. Yeah, I know he's missing though. Please, the cops won't listen to me, and they're gonna bring him in on charges. You gotta prove it wasn't him before they find him. This is very much like a 1920 film, or maybe not even 1920s. Nah, I think it would probably fit that kind of like Hollywood, like S-type Lone Ranger investigator that has like this mistress that's running inside the office saying, hey, none of the facts are right, I know the truth. But it's always a lot deeper than you think it is. Honestly, I doubt they are in too much of a hurry. Friendsworth had practically the entire police force in his deep pockets, probably why they haven't found much yet. Oh, and then we got bribery of police officers. I wonder how much they're getting paid versus the salary that they're getting. If they find him and bring him in, it would be due to the public pressure. Sometimes a mob with pitchforks is more dangerous than one man with money. That is true, but I don't know. There's been some like wild cases that like even though the majority of people demanded like a higher prosecution, it never actually succeeds that, and the most they probably get is maybe like a certain amount of years attached to their crimes. So this must be way before that actually is important, because some things were kind of lenient. Maybe. Not entirely sure. Didn't grow up in that genre era either, so I could be very off. You got my curiosity, but you might not like what I find. I can help you. We'll get to the bottom of it. Don't you worry now. Alright, the one thing I'm not is I don't like sugarcoating things, so we're going with the top one. Oh, thank you, Mr. Jack. Thank you. But please, be careful. I don't think this was just any murderer or kidnapper. I think it was a beast. Gasp. Okay, what kind of beast is this? Beast. The word struck me funny, like when you jaw your elbow on a hard corner. Jar your elbow on a hard corner. That's a pretty nifty description. Like, I would have never figured, like, jar would be like, something you would use to describe an action that you did to yourself. Not a word many use these days, except in harsh whispers and bedtime stories for children. Oh, they were real enough, all right. They just got better at hiding, controlling their unseemly urges. But I haven't seen any monsters in nearly 15 years, back when I was still a cop myself. Well, that's definitely an interesting theory. I can help you. We'll get to the bottom of it, don't you worry now. Leave the detective work to me. Let's not jump to conclusions here. Let's go with the top one. I have a feeling about it. Something tells me you can get to the bottom of it. You're good at these sort of things. Sure, you can't see how busy I am with cases. You're right on the sarcasm. I reply a little too harshly. Sarcasm wasn't my strong suit. Go figure. Verbal abuse sounds like something you would say. I reassured her some more and sent her on her way. I don't want to scare her, but I warned her before she left to keep her doors locked and call me if she saw anything suspicious. My thing is, if this is an open case, and clearly it sounds like the wife is gone, now her supposed hubby has disappeared, and she's the known mistress, wouldn't they be keeping their eyes a little bit more on the mistress just because she's the only live witness or potential of interest? You would think that they would do that. I don't know if she has any danger herself, but it's better safe than sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry, I missed that word. I didn't know if she was in any danger herself, but it's better safe than sorry. That night I made my way to the Central Park. It was a long shot, but maybe there was something there the cops had missed. Next chapter. The scene was already picked clean by the cops days ago, but I've got it connect. I know that's not how you say it. But I'm also not finding the word in my brain to pronounce that. I'm just gonna move on from whatever that is. For finding the things others overlooked. I know it's not what I think I'm gonna say, so I'm just not gonna repeat the words that want to come out of my head. Oh, there it goes again. Hello, word. More of a symptom of a condition. Other, less useful symptoms I've kept in check. For the time being, my keen sense of smell would come in handy. Oh, there's always those people that have a high keen sense of smell. It was faint, but I could smell it before I even approached the police line. The scent was less of a thing and more of an emotion. What? What kind of emotion is this? Seduction. Okay. What's your theory on that? A strange familiar smell. I expected the scent of Trandardasium, or maybe even outright fear. But Mrs. Finsworth seemed to have been at the height of pleasure when she left. Oh! But I also don't know what this word is, so I'm very curious to kind of Google that. So let's see. Let me Google that. Because I've never really seen that word before. So I'm interested on what it means. Oh, it's a state of alarm or dread. Apprehension, fear. So he says fears twice. Okay, I don't get the point of that. Brought a new meaning to the crime of pleasure. I mean, that's all crimes if you really think about it. More in the sense of like the norm crimes. Not that I'm saying it should be normal, but it's very much the pleasurable aspect that drives people to commit what they do, the gain that they gain out of it, and the thrill seeking of it. Pushing the thoughts from my mind, it was time to get down to business. Investigating the scene. Muddy footprints everywhere, difficult to point out anything from the prints the cops left behind in their haste. But cops don't wear $2,000 pairs of Kekerons? I don't know what brand that is, so excuse me if I cannot pronounce it. It looks like Mrs. Finworth was there that night and walked away on his own 2 feet. Oh, mister. My bad. A burnt mark on a nearby tree caught my eye. I ran my finger along its length and felt it chill down my spine. There wasn't just any burn mark. This was the mark of an ancient magic. It's doubtful the cops would have picked up on it. Could Lily have been right? Something unnatural was at play here. We really gonna go down that route? Alright. But I was no stranger to the strange. I can't take this serious. Some of the dialogue is wild. After looking around for a while, I realized the park had given up all it was hiding from me, so I trudged back to my apartment and my head hit my pillow like it owed me money. I love that description. That's a very nice description. The next morning, I was reeling from another bout of ghoulish nightmares, but I had to hide my discomfort when I saw Lily was already sitting outside my office. My goodness, girl, you barely requested us to pick up this case, and you're already down here asking us for more information? Like, you wild. That's not how things go. It takes time. She waited wordlessly as I unlocked the door and rippled down another notice from the mayor's office. Why did I say rippled? Ripped. Ripped down another notice from the mayor's office. I mentioned her to step inside. Seemingly afraid of what I might say, she finally worked up the courage to ask. So, what did you find? Well, I got some good news. Finworth might still be alive. Not sure about the beast, but something unusual, unnatural was at the play. Might be right to worry about monsters. Found a spell mark. Now, I guess you could just say either one option, but it's just very much, which direction do you want to take this at? And I guess, are we really going to go paranormal route? Because I would kind of be considered the paranormal route, or do you want the truth hardcore of it all? Now, I don't know that many cases that were actually taken to trial due to paranormal, so that I cannot speak on. I mean, I know there was the Salem witch trials, but again, is that truly witches at play, or was that more of like people who were incompetent and obviously fearful of their own lives, that they're willing to put the blame on somebody else to keep themselves alive? So, interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna say the middle one. Unnatural? How do you mean? The spell's mark. Rarely seen these days, but unmistakable. I can't give you details, but I'm looking into it. The thing is, how would an investigator go about this? They would keep certain information to themselves, so you don't want to give the most valuable evidence out, because if you start leaking the most valuable evidence out, it's not so valuable that holding the criminal, now that everybody knows, now anyone can use that information. so it kind of loses its meaning. But I'm also very interested in the dialogue that's gonna protrude from it. Protrude is a bad word. Protrude from it, I guess would be better. Let's go ahead with the top one. What does that mean? What about Raggy? How do you know where he might be? Alright. That is the most ridiculous names I've ever heard anyone be called. Found his footprints. Seems like he got out safely. There was a sign he was at the scene and slipped away. We'll go with that one. My tone was indifferent towards her as I turned and grabbed a bottle from my desk drawer. A dryness in my throat made it difficult to swallow my meds. And he prefers to drink it with his whiskey. But you don't know where he went? Do you think the news this morning is related? Wait, what? What news? What is this? Oh! You don't watch the news, bro? You're an investigator. You need to be on it. What news is that? Haven't you heard? Lily, stop beating around the bush. Tell us now. Yeah, but maybe you should tell me what you know. Nope. Rough night followed by a rough morning. Relatable. We'll go with the top one. They found the police chief's wife dead by the docks. They said it happened last night. Oh, this is some gossip. Well, I guess it's not really gossip if she's, gone. Let me guess. Chief Untimate is missing too. My face might have betrayed a hint of satisfaction as she confirmed my suspicions, but it faded quickly. Untimate was a shitty cop and a shitty chief. Oh, we're just gonna go with that name anyway. He was half the reason why I left the force. He was half the reason I left the force, but now his wife was dead and I had more questions than I did the day before. The gears in my head started to spin, which wasn't helped by the splinting pains at my temples. I told Lily I needed time to work and she left slightly dejected, wanting more answers than I can provide. They all want answers. That night, after the cops are cleared out of the docks, I would slip down and see what I would uncover concerning Miss Antoinette's untimely demise. Next chapter. The cold air smelled strongly of salt and oil, and could it be? That smell again, like someone had pure arousal used it as perfume. And reading that last sentence kind of reminded me of a film. I don't know how popular it is. I've never heard of it until like a friend had suggested we watched it, and it was on Netflix one time. It was called, I think it's called The Last Perfume, and if anyone's ever watched it, it is based off a book. If you haven't, now you know it's based off a book. But the whole purpose of this book is that this man becomes so obsessed with the idea of perfume. He uses any essence to make perfume. And that leads into the humanity aspect of it, because he found out that a human body has like an essential oil to itself, a certain smell and a hormone to it, that he was able to find certain people that had this high sense of smell, whatever you can call it. And he was so infatuated with the smell that he was able to, I don't even know how that is possible, he was able to concentrate that oil out of these beans to make the perfect smell. And then he got so good at perfecting his method that he was able to, by the end of the film, He was able to create this luscious smell that no one could resist. So it kind of reminds me when they said it's used as a perfume. It hit me like a long forgotten memory, but the sensual fumes soon gave way to a rush of adrenaline, and I knew exactly what the scent reminded me of, and that scared me more than not knowing. I looked down at my hand, shaking, the nightmares, the headaches. No, I was better now, reformed. I had to focus, no jumping to conclusions. Follow the evidence. Red Phoenix cigar. I keep calling them cigars, but they're cigarettes. Some shitty brand I smoke every day. Everyone's got their vents. There, just there, the smallest piece of purple fabric, torn and caught in the splinter of a board. The police report didn't say anything about Miss Antoinette wearing purple, and it was certainly of a quality you wouldn't expect down here. Don't see too many high society types around flaunting royal purple threads. I pull out my own pack of reds and light up. I could already feel another headache coming on, but looking out over the waves seemed to help me forget. The cold helped me push down the uncomfortable thoughts that had been bubbling to the top of my brain. There we go. Had to quickly blow my nose. I honestly don't remember the walk back to the office. Apparently I spent the night in my easy chair. The air from the docks lingered on my clothes. And it was still dark outside, and now I checked the clock. How long have I been out? Had I really slept through the entire next day? Oh, you dissociated, I see. You don't even remember what you did. A newspaper was sitting on the door, and as I sat there to fetch it, I nearly fell over. A wave of nostalgia hit me like a ton of bricks. I steadied myself, regained my composure, and before I picked up the paper, I could already read the headline. Breaking, mayor missing, wife found dead. 2 cases is a coincidence, 3 is a pattern. The cops would come asking questions soon, and they knew I had a history of antagonizing all the victims. Dude, what were you doing? I stumbled to my desk and slammed back 3 days' worth of inhabitant pills. I couldn't take any chances. I had to investigate the scene to be sure. I threw my jacket and went to the door. Lily caught me off guard on the other side. Jack, where are you off to? I've been trying to reach you all day. I'm sorry, Lilith, but I don't have time to talk. I have to go. I've just been busy. I'm off to Mrs. Vincent? Crime scene? Do we want to be apologetic? I mean, I don't understand what she wants from us when she's the one that clearly requested us to take this case even more serious than before, so I don't know why we have to feel bad if we're busy. Not that I'm saying he's busy, because clearly he can't even remember what the hell he did the whole day after the crime scene. We'll go with the top one. Okay, but we need to talk when you get back. Stay safe. She gave me a soft kiss on the cheek as I rushed off. A part of me wanted to stay and tell her it'd be okay, but it would be a lie. Who are you, woman? Why are you kissing people's cheeks? Ain't you missing your man? Like, what is going on? Who are you? What if you're the beast? Oh, the music picked up. We're in the other next scene. The alley was located behind the high-rise apartments where Mayor Vinton and his wife lived. I'm probably pretty sure I've mispronounced this for a bit, so sorry. Not exactly good with pronunciations, which I'm pretty sure you probably have already been aware of that. I could tell the police were spooked now. The crime scene was even sloppier than the last. Are they spooked because the mayor's now gone and the wife is now found missing? Not missing. Is now found there. They haven't even bothered to submit the trash into evidence. Investigate the crime scene. Why wouldn't they at least look through the dumpster? It seemed it untouched. No one wants to do the dirty work. Because I don't want to do the dirty work, just like you said. But I know how to find the good stuff. It really doesn't take long if you know what to look for. Lightweight bags usually mean someone was dumping documents, and if you were lucky, they didn't bother to shred them. Now see, that's a paranoia right there. Like, always shred documents. No matter what. Jackpot. Shell companies. Shady stock trades. Bribes. I knew Mayor Winston was crooked, but this was unbelievable. And there was more. Letters between Mayor Winston and Chief Antoinette. Pretty sure I've been pronouncing that wrong too. But we're gonna stick with what I've been going with. Talking about me? How are they trying to get me to shut down? They didn't like me snooping around crime scenes all the time. Well, they weren't here to stop me from snooping around this one. Because they're not here anymore. Let's see. Oh. Vincent's car. If he was still alive, wouldn't he have left in his car? It didn't make any sense. I honestly wasn't too motivated to find him, but the stakes were too high. And my bet was edging towards the unthinkable. I searched around for anything that might assess my fears, and I caught the scent all over again. It overwhelmed my other senses with undeniable pleasure. It was intoxicating, a weapon used on a weak-willed, a weapon I knew all too well. Though it had been many years since I had used it. Wasn't another like me? Was I being framed? Dun 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 dun! Is he being framed? It wasn't possible, was it? I'm taking my inhibitors. I was reformed. Or so you say. I'm very curious of what you're taking, like the pills that you have to drink down with your whiskey. Which, let's all admit, if you're drinking whiskey with your medication, I don't think they're gonna work like they should, because you're taking medication that's designed with a certain kind of chemistry, I would imagine. Something to help your brain kind of even out the imbalance that's going on. So if you're mixing that with other stuff, that could either ramp up the medication or lower the dosage down. Or maybe, I don't know, could do other factors, but either way, it's not doing its job that it's originally supposed to be doing if you're just mixing it in with other substances. So then it's going to create another problem. But the nightmares, the headaches, the memory lapse. Are you the one hurting people? I can't even trust myself. I started walking back the alley when something shiny caught my eye. A watch. It wasn't just any watch, though. My watch. How long had my wrist been bare? Surely I just dropped it when I first came down the alley. I checked the time before I left the office, hadn't I? Or had I used the wall clock? I couldn't be sure. I couldn't be sure of anything. So I ran. Dun 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 dun. I didn't know why I ran back to the office. The cops would probably show up any minute to knock the door down and carry me away. I don't know why I ran back to the office. The cops would probably show up any minute to knock the door down and cart me away. They would put it together before long. Maybe it would be best for everyone if I simply faced my own reflection. But Lily was still there, waiting for me. Jack, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. My own ghost came back to haunt me from the past. Oh my gosh, that is so cheesy. I can't. You're not making any sense, Jack. Come sit down. You don't understand. You're not safe around me. Oh my gosh. Hard eye roll at that. I take a good last look at her as I prepare to shove her out the door. I notice she's wearing the same thing she had when she first came to my office 3 days ago. This chick has not left. Has she just been camping in her car and just coming up whenever she wakes up or something? Like, lady, you need to go home, you need to take a shower, you need to eat, you need to, like, obviously relax. You do not need to be in his office every day. A beautiful purple dress. Oh, it was her. It was her. I think I made that assumption earlier, did I not? Like, what if she was the one? It's always the mistress because they get more out of it than the wife does. Odd. I hadn't really noticed that before. It made her seem out of place. Out of time. And it was fondled around the edges, torn in places. My chair caught my fall as my knees failed me. Uh-oh. It was you. You are the monster. Succubus. Huh? Oh, Jack, we are the one and the same, you and I. We are both monsters. I'm simply more honest with myself. There is no such thing as reformality. Those pills you take only make you dull. Dang, lady. I'm just trying. Beasts like us should never suppress our true nature as you have incubuses. Oh. These men were probably dead now too, I figured. She probably took them to her lair and harvest their seed. Harvest their seed. So, you done all this just to wake me up? You could say that, though it seemed enough just to have you doubt yourself. You believed you were still capable of such horrors, which means deep down you probably are. You can't escape it. Now I need you to complete the deed. You took my watch, messed with my head. Oh, don't act like I didn't do you a favor. These men hated you, wanted you gone. And now they're gone. I mustered the strength to stand again, moving casually to the window by the corner. She was right about one thing. I was dull, weak, compared to her. If I refused her and she attacked me, I was dead mad. I had to keep her talking. I've never met a succubus who seduces and kills women. Oh, please, such a 14th century stereotype. I don't discriminate when it comes to pleasures of the flesh. But I still need an incubus like yourself to take the taunted seed I've harvested from those awful men and plant it among the fertile masses for me. I'm tired of draining my lovers just to survive. I'm ready to settle down and start a family. That sinister laughter. I positioned myself carefully, making sure she was looking my direction. Sorry, but I'm not your guy. And with a flick of my wrist, I whip the old bedsheet off of the corner mirror. Lily was blinded by her own reflection, sucked into the mirror with a pain monstrous scream. Trapped. Shielding my own eyes, I pulled a revolver from my desk side drawer, aimed it at the mirror, and fired. Dang. That was a wild interpretation of an audio visual. That's very nice.